The 4-minute heist. The Louvre robbery of 2025. October 19th, 2025. A quiet Sunday morning in Paris. The sun rose over the river Seine, glinting off the glass pyramid of the Louvre Museum. Tourists were already gathering in the courtyards, taking photos, laughing, and waiting to step inside the world's most famous museum. What none of them knew was that, within minutes, history itself would be stolen. In less than 4 minutes, thieves would take jewels worth over 88 million euros treasures that once belonged to French queens and emperors. It would become one of the boldest and most precise art crimes of the century. This is the full story of the Louvre heist of 2025. The Louvre is not just a museum, it is a fortress of human history. Inside its walls rest more than 35,000 works of art, paintings, sculptures, manuscripts, and relics spanning 9,000 years. Millions travel from across the globe each year to see the Mona Lisa's secret smile, the winged victory of Samothrace, poised for flight, and the timeless Venus de Milo. But beyond the famous galleries lies another kind of treasure, one that doesn't hang on walls, but sparkles under glass. The Apollo Gallery, a long, golden corridor lined with marble, mirrors, and crystal light. It is here that the French crown jewels are displayed, fragments of a vanished empire, relics of monarchs whose reigns shaped the destiny of France. Among them were the sapphire tiara and necklace of Queen Marie Amélie, the emerald set of Marie-Louise of Austria, Napoleon's second wife, the reliquary brooch said to contain a fragment of his coronation robe, and the tiara and corsage bow of Empress Eugénie, the last Empress of France. Each piece told a story of love, ambition, tragedy, and the delicate vanity of power. To historians, they were priceless. To the thieves, they were the perfect target. Sunday mornings at the Louvre are peaceful. The halls are quiet, the crowds haven't yet arrived, and the museum's vast corridors echo only with the sound of footsteps and distant chatter. It is a moment of calm, a rhythm that repeats every week. And on this particular morning, that rhythm became the thieves' greatest ally. At about 9:40 a.m., a white maintenance van pulled up to a restricted delivery entrance. 3 people stepped out, dressed in dark uniforms, carrying toolboxes and official-looking ID badges. They appeared calm, confident, routine. Security let them in without question. They took a service elevator to the upper floors, where the Apollo Gallery gleamed above the museum's heart. At 10:03, the Louvre opened its doors to the public. By 10:07, the thieves were already inside the gallery. Security footage later revealed 3 figures moving with astonishing precision. They weren't rushed. They knew exactly where to go. They targeted only 8 specific pieces, breaking display glass in surgical strikes and placing the jewels into padded bags. No shouting. No hesitation. It was as if the plan had been rehearsed 100 times. 4 minutes later, they were gone. The heist was over before anyone realized it had begun. At 10:22, a guard began his scheduled patrol. He turned the corner and froze. Shards of glass sparkled on the marble floor. For a moment he thought one of the cases had cracked from temperature stress. Then he saw the empty mounts where the jewels had been. He pressed the alarm. Within minutes, police arrived. The museum went into lockdown. Visitors were guided out as investigators swept the galleries. What they found stunned them. The cases were reinforced with bulletproof glass, yet each had been broken in the same exact spot, a weak point at the lower edge where 2 panes met. No fingerprints, new footprints, no forced entry. And somehow, the Apollo Gallery's alarm system had gone offline for exactly 8 minutes, starting at 10. Then, it came back on as if nothing had happened. Someone had known exactly what to do and when to do it. By noon, the French Ministry of Culture had been notified. At 2 p.m., the news broke worldwide. Priceless jewels, once belonging to the royal family of France, had been stolen in broad daylight. The story dominated headlines, and images of the empty cases flooded social media. The Louvre closed indefinitely as forensic teams took over the scene. In the following days, the full list of missing jewels was released. The sapphire, tiara, and necklace of Queen Marie, the emerald necklace and earrings of Marie Louise of Austria, a gold and diamond reliquary brooch, and the tiara and bow brooch of Empress Eugenie. 8 pieces in all, together worth nearly 88 million euros, though experts insisted their true worth was beyond money. They were symbols of French identity, beauty, and the endurance of history itself. The police investigation, codenamed Operation Apollo, began immediately. Detectives reviewed every second of camera footage, every employee's entry record, every shipment log that week. They found something unusual. 2 maintenance workers listed on the schedule hadn't shown up that morning. One had quit a week earlier. The other simply stopped coming to work the day before the robbery. Both disappeared completely. Interpol was called in, suspecting an international art crime network. In the past 5 years, similar heists had occurred in Vienna, Amsterdam, and Geneva, each swift, clean, and precise, each targeting historical artifacts too famous to sell. The pattern was unmistakable. This was the work of professionals. Outside Paris, police found the abandoned white van near the River Seine. Inside were gloves, shards of glass, and traces of gold dust from the broken display cases. Later that evening, a jogger noticed something glinting near the water. It was the crown of Empress Eugenie, bent, dirty, and broken. The thieves had dropped it during their escape. It was the only piece ever recovered. Theories spread quickly. Some said the heist was orchestrated by a professional gang working for a wealthy collector, someone who wanted the jewels not for profit, but for pride. Others believed the pieces had been broken apart and sold on the black market, that gemstones recut and the gold melted down to erase all trace of their origin. Experts warned that within weeks, those historic jewels could be unrecognizable. Centuries of craftsmanship reduced to scrap and scattered across the world. Public anger in France grew fierce. Newspapers called it a national humiliation. How could the most secure museum in Europe allow its treasures to vanish in daylight? The Minister of Culture ordered a full security review, and the Louvre's director faced intense criticism. Even the president addressed the nation, calling the theft a wound to French heritage. The Apollo Gallery remained closed for months, its shattered cases replaced by temporary glass and caution tape. Visitors who once came to admire the jewels now stared at empty mounts, silent reminders of what was lost. For many, the theft was not just a crime against the museum, but against France itself. To understand why the loss cut so deep, we have to look at what these jewels represented. They weren't just decorative ornaments. They were living history. The sapphire tiara of Marie Amélie symbolized the last years of the French monarchy before the 1848 revolution. The emerald set of Marie Louise was a wedding gift from Napoleon, a token of an empire's ambition. The reliquary brooch embodied faith and legacy, while the jewels of Empress Eugenie captured the final glimmer of imperial elegance before it faded forever. Together, they told the story of a nation's rise and fall through beauty and power. There, visitors walked through the gilded hall, their footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. They would pause before the empty displays, their reflections staring back from the reinforced glass. In the soft gallery light, the empty mounts looked like ghosts, specters of a stolen legacy. To fill the gaping void, the museum commissioned a digital reconstruction project, using detailed 3D scans and historical photographs taken just before the theft. Artists and technicians created holographic replicas of the lost jewels. The projections shimmered with an artificial, ethereal light, a beautiful but hollow tribute. They captured the shape, the color, the design, but they lacked the soul. New technology, no matter how advanced, could ever replace the weight of history, the mesmerizing fire of a real diamond, or the feeling of standing in the presence of true magnificence. The holograms were a painful reminder of what was lost, not a celebration of what remained. And now they were gone.